The hedgehog of the future,
It's no use!
or a hedgehog out of time. Unlike the hedgehogs before him, Silver was never given the proper spotlight as Shadow, but he shared the same problems in writing and public perception with Sonic, being naive in one story, but heroic in the other. However, his journey into newfound fame was the toughest story of them all. Unlike Shadow's debut in Sonic Adventure 2, Silver would debut in Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, at the expense of rough development and mixed reception. From a world destroyed by flames many years into the future, a lone hedgehog with powers of telekinesis roamed the land in search of the reason why the flames destroy the world. Accompanied by Blaze the cat to fight off a being known as Iblis, the flames of disaster. No matter what they did, the being could never be defeated in their own strength, frustrating Silver having to live in a world filled only by flames and desolation. There was nothing he could do, until a strange figure emerged, offering them a chance to stop Iblis from ever existing. He proposed that in order to prevent the disaster that unleashed Iblis, he would have to eliminate the one they called the Iblis Trigger. Not knowing his full mission, Silver and Blaze would be sent to the past, seeking out the one who was responsible for their future's destruction. From there, the hedgehog would be fascinated by this time, with a forest full of life, and a sky still blue, which he had never seen before. But, as he was close to finding the Iblis Trigger, he would be found by Amy Rose, mistaking him for another hedgehog she admired, forcing Silver to join her as they sought out this Sonic. Unbeknownst to him, Sonic was the person who was shown to be the Iblis Trigger, who he tried to kill once only to be stopped by Amy, finding himself questioning if taking one life was worth saving the whole world. He would soon receive an answer from Shadow the Hedgehog, losing to him after trying to kill Sonic again to find that he was being manipulated by Mephiles the Dark, the missing half of Solaris, who took on Shadow's form to deceive him in unintentionally setting off the real Iblis Trigger, Princess Elise. Through a trip to the past, Silver would witness Iblis being sealed in Elise long ago by her father, with a vow to never cry lest her tears call forth the flames from within. Having understood what he must do to truly save the world, he returned to the present to help Sonic rescue Elise, and later returned to the future with Blaze to end the flames of disaster once and for all. However, after failing to seal Iblis within himself, Blaze would sacrifice herself to seal the flames, leaving Silver alone in a future saved and a broken heart. When it came time to face Solaris, Silver would join Sonic and Shadow as they together took down the Sun God. But, as many fans know, this would result in the event being entirely erased, and thus, Silver's story, his naivety, his compassion, and his deeds were forgotten. It didn't help that since 06 was received as a critical failure, Silver was since seen as one of the weakest parts of 06, for being easily deceived by an obvious villain, and for being a terrible boss fight. This reputation continued to spiral for much of his appearances afterwards, especially after 06. Silver would return to join Sonic and Shadow in the smaller story of Sonic Rivals, having no memories of 06, but coming from the same future of destruction. Only this time, he tracks down Eggman Nega, a multiversal descendant from the future that sought to cause chaos through trapping people in cards, or kidnapping Chow for his own purposes. This would repeat many elements from 06 regarding his arrival from a desolated future, to him finding Sonic and Shadow to find the one responsible for his future. He would also lack the optimism and naivety that made his character unique in favor of a more aggressive personality that was willing to fight rather than cooperate. However, many fans appreciated his team-up with Espio in Rivals 2, as both of them quickly trusted each other to take down Eggman Nega, becoming great friends afterwards. Unfortunately, this didn't help Silver escape the shadow of his origin game, eventually joining the Meta era at the worst of times. One of the next appearances would be in Sonic Colors, more precisely, the DS version, which had him meet Sonic, Tails, and Blaze at Sweet Mountain. While he has no memories of meeting Blaze, there is a moment where he seems to recall a familiar connection between each other, though this was never resolved in the story. His next true mainline appearance in Sonic Forces was remembered as one of the worst appearances of the future Hedgehog, which was famous for cementing him as another hedgehog to be passed around in both writing and story. Silver would be a part of a small freedom fighting group known as the Resistance, being formed after Eggman captured Sonic and conquered the world with Infinite the Jackal, who wielded the Phantom Ruby. With this power, Infinite was able to defeat Sonic, and after a quick tussle in Mystic Jungle, beat Silver with quick ease, despite facing enemies on a similar scale. But what was considered the worst part of Silver's character, apart from his inclusion in the story, was one singular line.
I'm an optimist, but I'm also a realist.
How could Silver, a character known for his optimism, be considered a realist? This contradictory style of writing was shared with Sonic and Shadow in the same game, making Silver arguably one of the most useless characters in the franchise. Then one may ask if redemption is possible for someone who has been written into obscurity. But thanks to fans, there is. After years of constant jokes and ridicule, Silver would find a surprising source of popularity in one of the most unlikely games in the franchise, Sonic Racing Crossworlds. And it wasn't so much the story as was the interactions between Sage and Eggman that fans found a return to form for the Hedgehog, igniting new interest in the character that wasn't seen before. Multiple pieces of fan art and fan games would emerge to tell a possible future in which Silver fought against the remnants of the Eggman Empire, ruled by Sage. It's here that Silver's redemption was born, not so much by the inconsistent stories of the past, but by the hope of the future fans have created. Much like Shadow, Silver would arrive in Archie Sonic not long after his game debut, having the least amount of changes to his origin, at least for some time. In 2009, just a few years after 06, Silver would enter Archie Sonic in issue 194, as Sonic, Shadow, and several other hedgehogs would enter a battle for a broken world. But Silver didn't come to save the day as his primary task, for it was to destroy the traitor that would ruin his future, in a similar manner to his role in 06. However, after meeting Sonic and helping him stop Scourge, he would find his first lead of Sonic being the traitor a mission failure, forcing him to return to the future to continue his research. Then, he would enter an alternate future 30 years from the present, saving King Sonic and Queen Sally from the Dark Presence, a remnant of the Dark Legion that sought to bring back former King Shadow to rule the world. However, in bringing the Hedgehog back, he would unleash Tikal, the combination of Tikal and Perfect Chaos, to punish the world for his exile. Luckily, Silver would join the fight to help Sonic and his family defeat the water monster, saving this timeline from disaster, though not being able to find the traitor. This would lead him back to the present, this time looking for Rotor Wallace, formerly Boomer, as the possible traitor of the Freedom Fighters. On his journey, however, he would be persuaded by Rotor to save his family from mind control, thus saving an entire Walrus herd from mind control, saving the day once again. Silver would later return to his time to train with an older Mammoth Mogul, sensing an intruder from another time that dragged Silver into an alternate future controlled and desolated by Enerjack. Seeking to help the surviving freedom fighters defeat the demigod, Silver realizes that he couldn't abuse his power, but also the need to be ready to help others when they needed him most, changing the course of his life forever. After doing more research to find the traitor of the freedom fighters, but this time under his master's orders, he was not to return unless he was successful in his mission. With that, he headed off back to the present, where Sally Acorn was roboticized, and Anton was left in a coma, saving Sally's brother and his family. Assuming Antoine was the traitor, Silver was quickly dragged by the quills by Sonic to the hospital, finding all his assumptions fail right in front of him, and rejected by Sonic, who was in no position to argue. Stranded, Silver finds himself lost with no leads, wondering where to go until he is found by Harvey Hu, the leader of the secret freedom fighters that worked in the shadows to take down King Ixis Nagus. Through small missions to stop the corrupt king, Silver will be able to help St. Geoffrey return to his senses, while Mr. Hu helped him figure out the traitor of the freedom fighters. To his surprise, it was none other than Sally Acorn. The reason for this was that there were little records of Sally's roboticization, that the future was not caused by a malicious act so much as it was a selfless sacrifice that unfortunately resulted in her committing evil acts not of her free will. However, he would find the world being reset as soon as he tried to rescue her, resulting in his arc of learning what it meant to be a hero, to be lost. Following the reboot, Silver's story would be altered to come from a dystopian future ruled by the Onyx City Council, teaming up with Professor Von Schelmer and Gold the Tenric to stop Genesis portals from unleashing monsters upon the world. His last adventure in Archie would have him, the Professor, and Gold be sucked into a Genesis portal as the comic reached its end, leaving his new arc unfinished. Or was it? Silver's arc would be abruptly halted as he would also join Sonic in IDW. But whereas the other hedgehogs would retain the writing from the meta era for some time, Silver's character was altered to have more traits similar to his early appearances, as well as his most recent appearances. For one, he would arrive from a future covered in metal, seeking to find a way to change the past by helping Sonic take down whatever threats created his future. Another would be his close bonds with Whisper the Wolf, Blaze, and Espio, which demonstrated how he had the same heart and skill as Sonic and Shadow, but struggled with anxiety that more often than not made him isolated and afraid of lacking purpose in life when the world was safe. These doubts arrived despite his heroics within the multiple battles throughout this continuity, from saving everyone in the Battle for Angel Island, teaming up with Sonic to destroy the metal virus, helping everyone destroy Egg Imperial City, and uncovering Mimic's infiltration in the Diamond Cutters. This Silver also greatly differed compared to his Archie depiction, by not necessarily being overconfident in saving the day, so much as he was determined to be a noble hero, apart from the hedgehogs around him. In a way, this IDW continuity continued a lost side of Silver that more often than not was overdone in the games or written out in previous stories. His optimism, a trait once seen in 06, living on through the comics, and slowly returning to the games. Silver is the only hedgehog out of the three here not to appear in any TV show or movie, though rumors of his eventual arrival have been spoken about since Sonic 3. Despite the mistakes of his past, Silver the Hedgehog has gone a long way to rise alongside Sonic and Shadow with both fan acclaim and respect for the accomplishments he has made, and many hope that one day the Hedgehog's dream of absolution will finally come to pass, becoming the hero he was meant to be.